Hope you guys can hear me okay. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. Welcome to drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. Now, today we're going to talk about cryptocurrency. We're going to talk about Bitcoin, what's going on in the world of not just Bitcoin, though, but with all the cryptos across the board, blockchain, everything else. And today, our guests to discuss this important topic are the brothers. They call themselves the crypto gentlemen, right? Is that correct?
The gentleman of crypto.
The gentleman of crypto. The gentleman of crypto. GOC. Okay. All right. So the gentleman of crypto, King Bless and Isaiah Jackson. How you doing today, brothers?
Doing awesome. Thank you.
Doing great.
All right. Good to see you, man. I appreciate both of you coming in here. And by the way, King Bless, is that a nickname or is that your name?
The last name I changed. Yeah. You want to know the dark past behind it, or are we gonna keep pushing?
You know what? We're gonna get to that. Let's get to that at some point. I like it though. King Bless, those are two good words to put together. So I'm glad that you're blessed. I know you're blessed. I know how smart you are. So everybody that comes in, hit the thumbs up button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button. So let's just jump right in and get started. So I'm gonna start with you, Isaiah. What's the biggest thing that you've seen this week in terms of what's going on in the world of crypto that we should all know about?
So the biggest news story I would say this week has been the adoption of Bitcoin to MasterCard, simply because that takes us to the second stage of money. Bitcoin is a reliable store of value. 100% of people who have bought Bitcoin are in profit. But to get to that next stage of money, which is a medium of exchange, you need an infrastructure like a Visa, like a MasterCard, to be able to process those payments. And MasterCard being able to provide crypto payments to over 30 million merchants in the world is something big to talk about, because no longer can people say, hey, I can't take my Bitcoin and go buy a coffee. Now you can. So now that argument is pretty much, getting to a point where it's over, I think that's huge news. And we're seeing this money grow more progressively over time.
Okay, so how does that work exactly? If I because I own Bitcoin and I have a MasterCard, how would I end up getting the two on the same page?
Oh yeah, so if you have a MasterCard, depending on what account you have, any account that allows you to get that MasterCard or to get a Visa, the Bitcoin in that exchange, you can spend it. And what that means is if you have Bitcoin on, let's say, PayPal, if you have Bitcoin on some other exchange where they issue you a card, you can actually spend it and spend the crypto directly. So for those who don't want to spend it, that's fine. But for those who do, you can. And that's the options of a free money system, which is good to see.
Okay, so the merchant that I'm using with my MasterCard with, like if I go to the grocery store, if they don't want to deal with Bitcoin, I can't. That's not applicable to this, right? It's more so like PayPal, where PayPal says you can do transactions in Bitcoin with your MasterCard, that kind of thing. Correct?
Anywhere MasterCard is accepted, anywhere Visa is as well. Mm-hmm.
And crypto, right? And Bitcoin,
yeah.
Right?
Well, now Bitcoin's accepted everywhere. That MasterCard and Visa is. And that's how big that is that in an instant, because Bitcoin is reliable as a store of value, we're moving to medium of exchange. And that's a great place to be, because that makes it more of money in people's eyes, even though Bitcoin has been money for a long time.
Okay. All right. So King Bless, let me ask you the same question. What's captured your eye this week in the world of crypto?
So definitely, like you said, the MasterCard. Also, Uber. Uber is huge. For years, I couldn't figure out why, at the very least, they wouldn't at least accept Bitcoin or cryptocurrency. Now they're actually exploring that. So I think that's big news. I've been using Uber for years now. I continue to use them. I know a lot of people in SoCal use them. So I think that would definitely help their bottom line, raise awareness about Bitcoin. And then kind of going back to the MasterCard thing, one of the big parts about all of this is where people saw this technology going, where you keep hearing about blockchain technology. It's going to be on the back end of all this stuff. So if you can use MasterCard or Uber, you can buy and pay with things in cryptocurrency. You might not even actually have to understand Bitcoin or cryptocurrency or see the front end of all that happening, because now all these developers are on the back end making all this stuff compatible and work with everything. So I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, the infrastructure, I mean, obviously that's critical, right? Because you need that. Yeah, I think Jeff Bezos was doing a really great presentation about going into space. And he had this really unique idea of building artificial planets. He was like, why should we go to these planets with these uncomfortable, crazy environments and try to live there, and instead just build a planet? And I was like, what does that look like? And the prototype was insane. It was like massive, but he was saying you could control the weather, you could create beaches and mountains and whatever you wanted. And one of the things that he said that I thought about was, he said, look, this is not something we're able to do. We're not going to do this, but we can build the infrastructure. we build the roads to space, so to speak, so that the next generation can actually start building on top of that infrastructure. Like he said, that Amazon could have been built without the postal service, already being in place, right?
Yeah.
So it seems to me that when you talk about this infrastructure piece, that's where it seems like the big play, or one of the big plays, is in crypto. The blockchain itself and all related technologies. So let's talk about infrastructure a little bit. I've heard good things about the Ethereum network, that the Ethereum network is one of the strongest. Would you agree that the Ethereum network is kind of out there in terms of being at the top of the food chain? Because I'm wondering, with all these different currencies, how many of them are going to survive and which ones are going to fail?
Ethereum is definitely one of the top of the food chain. One, because of time in the game. They were one of the longest cryptocurrencies in the game. Two, I mean, they technically, not formally, but like informally, they're kind of backed by the Russian president because Putin loves Vitalik Buterin. As far as the U.S. government loves them. But my thing with Ethereum right now, we actually just talked about this recently, is the high gas prices, the fees that you need to transact on Ethereum, which in and of itself isn't a terrible thing. It's a technical issue that can be solved that they're working on. But right now, with competitors coming out, the thing is, hey, will Ethereum, with its market share, continue to be the best, or will those like Cardano, which is supposed to be the Ethereum killer, or Polkadot, or some of these other type of cryptocurrencies in the same space take over? So I think right now Ethereum has a market share, it has a community behind it, has a lot of great developers, and they have that head start. So I think they're good for now. But in a couple of years, if they don't actually fix that scaling problem, then they might see some issues.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So Isaiah, did you want to add to that?
Yeah, I was just going to say, as a utility, yes, King is right. They do have to fix the scaling issues. We actually saw a business go out of business because they were using Ethereum and the gas fees were too high for them to continue running. So when the price of Ethereum increases, gas fees go up. So if the price does keep increasing and less decentralized apps can be built and less smart contracts can be executed, then Ethereum doesn't have much use case. And that's the only thing I'm worried about. They do have to figure out scaling. They do have to figure out gas fees. And they do have to be honest and let people know that they have a pre-mine to people who started in Ethereum early. This is not the original Ethereum blockchain. It was actually forked off because of a hack, $150 million hack back in 2015 or 2017. So this isn't even the original Ethereum. So again, as far as risk management goes, it is a speculative coin. You can make money from it, but as a project close to Bitcoin, not really. But it is second in market cap, and that seems too big to fail.
Okay. Everybody who just came in, I'm speaking with the Gentlemen of Crypto, and they actually have a YouTube platform and some other platforms as well. And King Bless is one of the brothers, and Isaiah Jackson. Please hit the thumbs up button, share, subscribe button if you haven't done it yet. We're gonna keep talking about crypto and what's going on now. I'm gonna tell you all this, man. I am really excited right now because I know I have a lot of different cryptos, but I know my Bitcoin's been on fire. I think Bitcoin's gone up 28% this week, and which is actually the bulk of the month. I think it had a tough month, but this week it's been on fire. What are some factors? And I'll start with you, King. What are some factors that are driving the massive growth in the price of Bitcoin as of late? You mentioned MasterCard. And also, I'd love for you guys to also maybe talk a little bit about Nigeria as well. I know, Isaiah, you mentioned that, so I'd love both of you can please chime in on that. Start with you, King. Go ahead, bro.
Okay, and real quick, I saw one of your commenters, Brandon Travis, said gas fees can be handled by Loopring and ZRX. True. I'm in the Loopring as well. It's basically a side chain that's supposed to help with scaling. So they're right about that. And I think March 10th or 15th, it was in Loopring is actually going to be full on, be able to work. But the thing that I think that's driving the price, to answer your question, Bitcoin Zay was just on Fox News twice the last couple of weeks talking about it. Bitcoin versus Tesla. He had a discussion with Gerber Kawasaki, and it looks like Bitcoin came out on top. I think that is the main thing driving the price. Elon Musk had put the B next to his Twitter handle. He's screaming out Bitcoin. He put that $1.5 billion down on Bitcoin he actually bought. And he's been screaming out Dogecoin, another cryptocurrency. So he's bringing a lot of eyes. I think he has 45 million followers on Twitter. He's bringing a lot of eyes into the space, and as well as the Michael Sayers event, which I'm sure Bitcoin Zay will talk about.
Okay, let's stick with Elon for a second, and then I definitely want to move to Nigeria and Dogecoin. I mean, you brought up an interesting word there. I'd like to get your thoughts on this. So, Isaiah, you were talking about Nigeria, and I guess I'm interested because I'm 1/3 Nigerian. I found that on my DNA test. So, what's going on in my home country right now regarding crypto that we should all be paying attention to?
Well, in your home country, what has happened is a Nigerian senator came out today and said that the naira is essentially valueless and useless because so many people are using Bitcoin. And I think that when he said that, that was in complete truth. The Nigerian government actually banned Bitcoin last week. And I believe after that happened, he explored it as well as others. And he came out and said it himself. We can't ban it. We don't know what we can do to actually ban it because too many people use it. And in Nigeria, they have the third most trading volume in the world. So what that means is this won't be the last country that realizes we can't tell our people not to use Bitcoin, because what happens? The price increases. Prohibition does not work. So in Nigeria, what you're seeing is you're seeing a lot of young people who are moving towards Bitcoin, using more cryptocurrency, and they're pushing back against the Naira. Again, NSARS happened, and those groups could not get funded. How did they get funded? With Bitcoin. And when you have a money system that can't be stopped in Nigeria, that's how you have basically a senator throwing his hands up like, I don't know what we can do. And it's kind of great. It's kind of great to see when you've been in this space so long, and we've been trying to remind people that if you have a new money system coming, the governments who were in control, their power is gone once the money system is gone. That's the only thing that funds them. So he literally was throwing his hands up like, we can't do anything about this, and we can't really ban it. So I think that helped drive the price. I think Elon Musk helped drive the price. Michael Saylor, his meeting with thousands of CEOs, including Tesla CFO. I think all of that at the same time is pushing the price, and will only continue if we see more of the same. More corporations buying, more people trying to ban it. Price is still going to go up because there's more demand.
Okay, so King Bless, I'm curious. So okay, so the Nigerian government, according to Isaiah, they haven't thus far been able to ban the use of Bitcoin. What about the United States? Could they do it? And would they try? Could they do it? And is it a matter of simply them figuring out eventually how to do it? When I hear about governments banning something, and I agree with what Isaiah said, that that prohibition does increase the price of something on the black market, but it almost seems like if you make something toxic enough, you can kind of kill the market altogether. If you say, look, if you get caught doing anything with this particular thing, bad things are going to happen to you. Remember, the government has the guns and the soldiers and the tanks and all that stuff. So what do you think, King? I mean, do you think that's a win for Bitcoin that they tried to ban it and couldn't, or do you think that means that other governments might follow suit and it could be worse?
I think it's a win that they tried to ban it and couldn't. And I do think the United States, they won't try to ban Bitcoin because it's just too glaring out there. I mean, it just goes against our values, like just black and white. But they will definitely try to ban or control some of the ancillary things around Bitcoin in the market. For example, wallets. They put it in the bill and they took it out as quick as they did. But the first stimulus package, the pandemic relief package, the first one, they were considering giving everyone their money, their stimulus, 600, whatever it was, in digital dollars using a digital wallet. So they already have it built. It's already made. They decided not to do it, but it was in the original bill. So that's what I think they're going to do. They're going to say, if you don't own or use these type of wallets we tell you about, you can't transfer crypto or Bitcoin. If you're not using the CBDC, so they won't say we ban Bitcoin. They say, if you're not using this CBDC, we're just not accepting it or acknowledging it. I think those are some of the ways they'll go about banning Bitcoin itself.
Interesting.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And it's interesting, Dr. Boyce, you said, we have the people with the men with the guns in the army. What happens when the men with the guns have Bitcoin? That's the problem people don't understand. You have one sitting right here, King. He's in the Navy. He has plenty. I mean, that's what people don't understand, is that the power that people seem to have leaves once the money system changes and the emperor sort of has no clothes. But yeah, I think that for the most part, if the US was going to do something, it would take propaganda, sort of what we're seeing now with Janet Yellen saying, hey, Bitcoin is used for illicit activities. Wrong. 0.3% of activity is used for illicit activity. That's less than cash. That's nothing. So that's a lie. You'll see propaganda. I guarantee you'll see propaganda in the next few years. There was child trafficking paid for with Bitcoin. If you use Bitcoin, you must support child traffickers.
Terrorism.
I can guarantee you a terrorist attack funded with Bitcoin. Why are you using Bitcoin? Terrorists use it. China, our economy is collapsing, and China owns most of the Bitcoin. If you don't use our currency, then you must love China. You must be. And this happened before. This has precedent. When gold became too valuable, the banks issued Executive Order 6102, made people turn their gold in, and what they used as the propaganda was, hey, our economy is failing because everybody's hoarding gold. No, the economy was failing because it's failing and they're trying to save themselves with gold. Luckily, you can't do that with Bitcoin. So I can see that type of thing happening. But all you need is an educated audience. That's it. And once people realize that, that's not real, that's dumb, that's just FUD. It takes some time, but I think we're getting close, and I don't think they can actually defeat it. So they're going to make money off of it, and maybe accept tax payments in Bitcoin, because I think that's the only way governments are going to be able to get their hands on it.
Okay, well, everybody, I want to make sure you know who I'm talking to. I'm speaking to Mr. Isaiah Jackson. I was going to say Isaiah Washington, but that's the actor. Isaiah Jackson and King Bless, the Gentleman Crypto. That's their platform. They're on YouTube, so everybody make sure you go find them, support them, follow these brothers, and also I've shared with you guys my crypto portfolio. If you want to go take a look and see what I own and what I bought, what I do is I know what I'm good at, I know what I'm not good at, and so with crypto is such a special culture, that whole space. It's a culture that requires you to be dedicated to really know everything that's going on. And so what I appreciate about guys like yourself and other men and women in that space is these are the people I talk to. You know, when I'm trying to figure out what's really going on and where to put my money, I talk to experts, and I think that and everybody who's listening, the first step toward being smart is to know when you can talk to smarter people and to never be the smartest person in the room when it comes to solving a particular problem. So let me ask you this. So speaking of smart, I want to talk about this Dogecoin situation. Dogecoin, from what I've gathered, please tell me if I'm wrong. From what I've gathered, Dogecoin is worthless, but it's like a fun little stunt. Everybody's, Snoop Dogg. I don't know if y'all saw Snoop Dogg had the little doggy dog.
I sold when I saw him. I sold as soon as I saw
it. You sold? You sold as soon as you saw it?
Sold as soon as I saw it, and I'm a happy person right now. So I'm just waiting for the dip.
Yeah, and it's almost like a little game that doesn't have as much to do with investing as it does with just sort of this weird speculation. And so Elon Musk is kind of he's a guy that takes some risks, which I love about him, but it's also caused him some problems. If you remember, he almost went broke trying to start SpaceX. So when people talk about investing in Dogecoin, I mean, is that even an investment, or is that something that smart investors should just generally try to stay away from? This is not investment advice, by the way, everybody who's watching, but I'd like your take on that. And I'm gonna actually pull up the picture of the Snoop Doge right now, so you guys can kind of see what that looks like. So Snoop Dogg put this on his Twitter or his Instagram or whatever, and everybody, I guess, got excited when he did that, because I guess everyone just does whatever rappers tell them to do. So what do you guys think? Should we quit messing with Dogecoin or have some fun with it? What do y'all think?
My take is have fun with Dogecoin. So the thing about Dogecoin and any other cryptocurrency, you only need two people to use it peer-to-peer. So in that sense, Dogecoin does work. If I send you some Doge, you will receive it, and you can switch it to Bitcoin and then switch it to cash or whatever. So that actually does work. Now, as far as it being like the next big thing or everything, like the amount of Dogecoin out there and the amount that they print it's too high. But what we do see happening right now is just the community around the Dogecoin rallying. Like a lot of people know, Dogecoin is on a ton of video games. Like some of the more popular games, Call of Duty, they have like a little charm you can get for your guns, your weapons. And it's like 3 or 4 other games. They have Dogecoin artwork and all this other stuff. So it's in the space where kids can see it, and it's a very low price point. So when these kids, TikTok and all that stuff come online and they're seeing all these high prices, they see Doge is low. With that being said, Doge already had a crazy pump. Right now, it should not be 7 or 8 cents at all. And I think when Snoop Dogg came out and did the Snoop Doge, the price was at like 0.082 or 3. And I was like, all right, this is good. Like I remember 2017 when the celebrities came out, this was the sign. For me, short term, it was a good sign. But as far as long term now, with all that being said, investing, I would say no. Trading, I would say yes, because if you trade it, you can catch some pump and dumps on it, and it may continue to rise. I think we might actually see it go to 10 cent, 12 cent, and because of the frenzy around it, especially if institutions keep pumping in long term after that 10 cent price, even though it makes no sense from a trading point of view, people will just look at the price point and say 10 cent, I'm going to buy it. They don't know any other fundamentals about it. They would say 10 cent, I'll buy it. So because of that, I can see it continue to rise in price. But I think for the short term right now, unless Bitcoin does 55K, 56K, we may have seen the end of the Doge pump in the short term right now, next few weeks to a couple months.
Isaiah, do you think that the Doge? I feel like I've been watching Doge for a while, and I feel like the Doge pump and dump is over. I feel like it's almost like when you look at Wall Street Bets, the Reddit forum, and we were talking about this morning. It's almost like they are almost like you can almost define them to be without it sounding so negative, financial parasites, right? And where am I going with this? Well, it's not to be negative or disparaging, but it's like a parasite will go from host to host and drain from the host and then move on to the next one after it's done. You know what I mean? Right. So it's basically like they're just going in and they're like, okay, we're going to go. Here's the stock for this week. We're going to go in here, pump that sucker up, make our money and move on. Right. We're going to hit it and quit it, you know? Yeah. And the problem with that, though, is people get there late to the party and they lose money because they're buying when the price of Doge is 6, 7, 8 cents per coin, when really they started the pump and dump when it was a penny, right? So they're making money off of you. They're making money off the people that get there late. So I think with those pump and dumps, I guess it's like if you can get in there early enough and you're lucky enough, it can work out. But a lot of people get unlucky. A lot of people lose a lot of money. What are your thoughts on Doge, Isaiah? Do you think that this whole pump and dump on Doge is pretty much over?
Yes, I do. But Doge has been known to pump pretty much anytime there's a bull market. If you look at the chart, it's literally just peaks and valleys, peaks and valleys, peaks and valleys. So, I think it may be done for now. However, that's the case. It just pumps every now and then. You should be used for kids. It should be like play around. If you saw Elon Musk with Bitcoin, he bought $1.5 billion. With Dogecoin, he gave it to his son. That's how it should be treated. Dogecoin is a joke coin. Give it to your kids. Let them play around with it. Send it. But it's not a long-term investment whatsoever. And also, just to hit on the point you were saying after that, the fact that there are people who are buying at the top and losing money. What you see in crypto, there are Telegram groups where they tell each other, "We're going to pump this coin." Yeah, there are Telegram groups where they get together, whales. They have a certain amount of Bitcoin. This coin is super low. We're going to pump it, and then once the pump happens, the news comes out, and then when we all know it's too late once you see the news. The problem, though, is we look down on them for doing that when CNBC does the same thing. They collude together. They buy stocks at the lowest price. They get the IPO, accredited investors. They can get in first. And then when the stock pumps to holy hell, CNBC comes on and says, "Hey, buy Ripple at $3." Or, "Hey, buy Bitcoin at 18,000. They do the same thing. So that's how markets work. First movers make the money. The people late to the party, you miss it. And the people that buy at the top in crypto, I feel sorry because it's not like stocks where you may lose 10, 20%. You can lose 99%. Like that's how far down a lot of these will go. That's why we tell people that the safest investment is Bitcoin, and then other cryptocurrencies are speculative. But Dogecoin is one of those. You can make money, but it's probably over for now. Not saying it won't happen again.
All right. Can I piggyback on that, Dr. Boyce?
Please.
Yeah. So he spoke of the peaks and valleys, how they always have pump and up. So that is the thing about Doge, especially if someone feels like they're stuck in it and they don't want to take a loss. Again, going back up to 8 cents, only because it's at 7 cents, I can see it happening at 8, 9, 10 cents. I think that will happen after Bitcoin has to pump a few more $1,000 because what happens is after Bitcoin gets another $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 candle, then people will be like, all right, I can buy more Doge with it. So with all that being said, if you're in Doge, I would suggest just sitting on it, not paying no attention. You shouldn't have your life savings in there anyway. It should be like, beer money type of deal. And then just make sure you watch the news. So when you do see a pump, you're that person selling it instead of that person saying, "Oh my, let me go try to buy some now." And then you mentioned Wall Street Bets. I'm glad Bitcoins, they brought it up. I was actually about to bring that up and you took it from me. Wall Street Bets, people have no idea. On the Telegram groups, there has been some pump and dump groups on Telegram for the crypto space for over 4 or 5 years now, who are way bigger than Wall Street Bets or around the same size, or a lot of people in them that are manipulating the crypto market. So I remember 2017, the government came out and said they were doing $100,000, $150,000 rewards for these groups, whatever. That failed miserably. But the point is like, yes, if during the bull market, all these coins are going to pump one time after another, and that's because they actually are being manipulated. So that is important to know as well.
Wow.
So you are saying Dogecoin is a good investment? Because if you buy it too high, you're gonna have to hold it for a few years.
Well, it sounds like he's saying it's a good trade, not a good investment, right? Know, but I mean, to that point, I guess information is everything, right? If you are the person that has information, even if it's worthless information, but it's information about what other people are going to do, then it seems to me that you can benefit from that. And I think it's I would tell anybody that's looking into that type of stuff, be careful because it's going to give you a stomach ache and you're going to be pissed off half the time. But then again, maybe you hop in, maybe if you're not greedy, maybe it's like drinking, right? Don't drink too much, but enjoy the party. That's fine. But just be careful, everybody. I don't want y'all to lose money. All right. So by the way, everybody, I want to tell you who I'm talking to before I ask the gentlemen who are joining us today to give their final thoughts on what's going on with crypto. These brothers, Isaiah Jackson and King Bless, are from the Gentleman Crypto. That's their platform. You can go take a look at that. Make sure you do that. Feel free to go support their platform. And also, one day, these brothers don't know it yet, but I'm going to invite them on Clubhouse, and we're going to have a Clubhouse conversation about crypto. And so if you want to follow me on Clubhouse, you can go to Dr. Boyce Watkins, just look it up on Clubhouse, and we'll get in and have a little audio conversation. I still don't understand why people don't realize Clubhouse is basically a Zoom meeting without video, but because you can do everything in a Zoom meeting that you do on Clubhouse, but I guess it's cool and trendy, and you can go from room to room. Seems like that's one interesting aspect. But either way, though, that's what I am on Clubhouse, so feel free to follow me there. So everybody, also hit the thumbs up button. If you haven't hit the thumbs up button, please do that. So I want to ask you guys this question. Right now with Bitcoin, I think we're sitting about 48K. It's I feel from my point of view that the rise of Bitcoin is an inevitability, that it's gonna, all indicators are pointing upward. It's literally like free money at this point, in my view, if you're invested in that. So do you agree with that statement that Bitcoin, that it can pretty much only go up? And also, what do you think Bitcoin will be at the end of this year? Well, if you had to make a guess, and then maybe we'll do a New Year's Day type conversation and compare our prediction to what actually happened. So I'll start with you, King Bless. What do you think, brother? Was I right? And what do you think is going to be at the end of this year?
Well, so I think Bitcoin can only go up in the long term. In the short term, for people could be 2 to 3 years, which we saw in 2017. You bought the top in 2017. You just waited 2 to 3 years to get some of your money back and to make profit. So if you're looking at 10, 15, 20 years, Bitcoin can only go up. If you're looking at the next 6 months to a year, then yeah, we might see it hit 53, 54,000 and literally just sink back down to 42, then maybe to 38, 37, 36, and then back up. So long term, yes, I see it only going up. As far as the price prediction at the end of this year, everyone gets these wrong. I remember in 2017, the whole community thought the price high would be $5,000. Like literally everyone in the community said 5,000. January 1st, 2017, it was 1,000. And we saw that thing go up to almost 20,000. So this year saying that it is February again, we're essentially at 48,600 right now. I think it's possible. It is very possible to see a $75,000, $80,000 Bitcoin. And I say that because these candles are just going to keep getting higher when the percentage swing 5, 10% in a few weeks might be a $9,000 candle. But I don't think we'll settle on 75 to 100,000. I don't think we'll settle that high at the end of the year. I think we'll settle between like 70 to 80K tops.
Okay. 70. Okay. So King Bless didn't really nail himself down. He kind of gave himself a range. So we go split it in the middle. So your prediction is 75K. All right.
75K.
Isaiah, what's your prediction for Bitcoin at the end of the year?
End of the year, Bitcoin is at $200,000.
Woo!
200,000.
I mean, it's extremely possible.
Yeah, and I'm literally going off of one chart that I've looked at a long time, the stock to flow model. If the stock to flow model is correct, we'll be looking at $200,000 Bitcoin at the end of the year. Has been correct for 12 years. So you really only need one chart for people who look at charts all day. For Bitcoin, you only really need one if you're thinking long term. So if that's the case, we'll be looking at $200,000, $300,000 Bitcoin. That's why Citigroup came out and predicted 300K. That's why JP Morgan said 146K. I think the FOMO is going to get real in Q4 this year. After tax season of March and during the summer, we may lag a little bit, but Q4 is about to get real.
So y'all work together. How does that make you feel, King? That your prediction 75 and Isaiah's is 200. Do y'all argue about that? What are those arguments like?
You see the school uniform conservative. I'm saying that my 75 he go 200. No, I mean, it like you said, it's definitely possible. I'm glad you mentioned that stack to flow model too. I saw someone mention TA as well. Like you should be doing technical analysis, and somebody said that in your thing. One thing I want to remind people of though is like you can't really do a lot of TA in this space because the trends keep changing. This was the first year we saw the Chinese New Year not affect cryptocurrency because we're in a pandemic. Like you can go in the last 11, 12 years of charts and predicted that. So I will caution that, only looking at TA. But yeah, my thing is if Bitcoin gets 100, 150K, all those little ancillary things the government wants to do, I think they're going to start doing it. And we might see that price start to get suppressed. Those are my thoughts.
Okay. So we got 200,000 from Isaiah, 75,000 from King Bless. My prediction is $108,732.14. So very precise. So at the end of the year, let's say New Year's 2021, we're going to look at the price. I believe we are going to hit 100,000. I feel like to your point, I couldn't find a reason why Bitcoin would not go up. It's like, especially because I think I saw a report where they actually stated something that we had actually talked about it actually here, where one I think Kathy Wood's company, ARK Investing, which is really good at predicting things, they said something very basic, that Elon Musk buying all that Bitcoin is going to make other billionaires do the same thing, because Elon's the leader. Elon's the richest man on earth. So like, okay, if he's doing it, then it must be great. And that way you're insulated against a bad decision. If it's a bad choice, then you can be like, well, I mean, Elon did it, so, and everybody else did it, so it ain't my fault, right? Mm-hmm. Like this is actually in finance, that's what they call a herding theory.
Mm-hmm.
Froze on his Dr. Boyce.
Yeah, I think it's a little frozen.
Am I here?
Okay, got you. Here we go.
Okay, yeah, sorry about that. I got the Wi-Fi. The teenagers in there playing video games. So, and it actually Call of Duty is my game, by the way.
Drop that gamer tag. I got you.
Okay, I sure will. I got to go in there and find out what it is. So I'll send it to you, man. But yeah. So I think that Elon Musk, according to herding theory, basically the reason people follow herds and packs is because there's safety in that. Like if I just go with what everybody else is doing, even if I fail, nobody's going to isolate me and say, oh, you were a stupid CEO, you should be fired. But if I go in my own direction, this is why leadership is hard, right? March to be your own drummer takes courage, because if you go in your own direction and you fail, then everyone says, well, you failed because you did something different from what everybody else did. Well, really, you might have still made a good decision. You might have had a 70% chance of success. But if you land on that 30%, people are going to say, oh, that means you were stupid. So Elon is a guy that I like because he'll take that 70-30 odds or whatever. Like he'll just go in his own direction, even if it's a bad direction, because he believes in it. So I think that Elon buying that Bitcoin is going to be huge. I think a lot of CEOs are going to follow. If Apple jumps in on some meaningful level, it could be massive. But to your point earlier, I think you and I, King, were talking about Apple, and there's a concern Apple's very proprietary. They're always like, well, how can we just do it ourselves, right? China's like that too. China and Apple, they tend to just take whatever you're doing and they make it themselves so they can keep all the money. So I'm curious to see how that plays out. But anyway, that's my 2 cents on it. I want to say thank you guys for joining us and adding so much value to the conversation. How can people find the Gentleman Crypto? Just search for it on YouTube?
Search for us on YouTube. In the description box, we have all our Twitter handles and all that good stuff as well.
Okay, perfect. All right, I love it. All right, so there we go. The Gentleman Crypto. Everybody go follow these brothers. They're very smart, as you can see. And thank you guys for hanging out with us. For you, King and Isaiah. Also, thank you everybody who's watching. And also, in case you're interested, we actually have financial workbooks and flashcards for kids. So if you want your kids to understand wealth, then that is something that you can do as a parent that will make a difference in their life forever. In fact, every black man especially needs to understand investing in wealth, because we can't spend our time chasing jobs. That's how you get oppressed. So don't sign your kids up for slavery. Sign them up for freedom. Teach them how to make some money. All right, so everybody have a good day. God bless you. And you guys, you can stay on for a second, and I'll just say goodbye to you privately as well. We'll see you guys soon. Take care. Peace.